I was doing a bit of research the other day and I realised there's 8 basic emotions. And I paired 8 of these basic emotions up with a film that had an impact on me, especially if I saw it at the cinema. Well, in fact, if I saw it at the cinema. And so a bit like wine and cheese, here's the first one. I'm going to compare the emotion of fear along with the teaser trailer for the Omen remake. Now it's the emotion of anger and comparing it with and combining it with, I should say, Batman vs Superman. When me and Stu went to see a midnight screening of Batman vs Superman, I'm normally pretty chilled out and footloose and fancy free. But when it got to the credits, and as you know in a lot of these comic book films, it comes on at the end and you'll see like Thor's hammer or something, so you know Thor's going to be the next movie. Well, the manager of the cinema came out and he said, "Oh, I just thought I'd let you know that it doesn't come back on again," which is, you think, oh, that's fair enough. But about 2 or 3 minutes later, the same manager came out again. I was like, "You guys are still here?" I was livid at the time. I was like, "What do you care if we stay in? I know you won't go home because it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, but bloody hell, get a job."
There's no time. I understand.
My sister Linda loves a good bargain, and she collected some tokens once. I think it was in the local paper, the Evening Sentinel, and she managed to get me some free tickets for, I think it was the Warner Cinema at the time. And a lot of the times when you get these free tickets, you can only go see certain films. And I went to the cinema one morning and I said, "What can I use these tickets for?" They said, "Oh, you can either go see Shrek 2 or 13 going on 30. And I'd never heard of this 13 going on 30, so I took a bit of a chance and I went and go see it. And the emotion for this one was sadness, and it's not a very fashionable thing to say, but it's about this woman named Jenna Rink, and she ends up going with a childhood sweetheart, Matt, and at the very end of the film, she gets married and she gets this dream house that she's always wanted. And he had a little bit of a mini nervous breakdown in the cinema. There's only 2 other people in the cinema. I think they thought, "Oh, what's going on here?" I was crying really bad. And when I got back in, my flatmate thought I'd been mugged or attacked, and he was like ready to avenge me and kick their ass. And like I said, I was really crying and like hyperventilating. She's like, "What's wrong? What happened?" I was like, "Just seen a film and Jenna Rink got a dream." I was crying really bad. What's even crazier, about 6 months ago, I woke up about 4 AM in the morning, put the TV on, and there's an Ariana Grande music video on, and they were copying the scene where Jenna Rink gets a dream house. And I thought she was hallucinating, because I was like, "What the hell copies 13 Going on 30? Only 8 people have seen that film."
I hate being 13. I just want to be grown up.
And she woke up 17 years later.
This next emotion is joy, And what's more joyous than Val Kilmer as Simon Templar in Philip Noyce's The Saint, with loads of rubbish disguises. It's got Elizabeth Shue in it, looking amazing. There was rumoured to be an alternate version of it as well, which is a bit of an aside. But absolutely one of my favourite memories of going to watch this film, because it was just such fun all the way through. They got a Volvo in there that looked amazing, and I even went up to Volvo in Longton once to try and see one of these Volvos, like a massive idiot. But yeah, absolutely joyous film, and it doesn't really get much better than that. Val Kilmer in The Saint.
Beside the car. Now turn around. Step away from the vehicle.
He's armed!
This next emotion is disgust, and I know it's fashionable to knock the films by this director, but it's Revenge of the Fallen. And again, this video is pretty much me confessing how many rubbish films that I like, but I actually do like Michael Bay movies.
Oh, for crap!
And I also really like the Transformers films. That's again not a very fashionable thing to say, but when I went to see Revenge of the Fallen, and I thought, oh, I like it, it's, you know, Transformers. I loved the original animated version. I loved the first 2007 Michael Bay Steven Spielberg version, but I was proper disgusted with what they did with Transformers 2. It was ridiculous. It had Transformers that turned into humans. It had Transformers with giant testicles. And the only good thing about it, spoiler alert, is when Sam Witwicky died and he went to Transformer heaven. But yeah, and this is going to be a big disaster.
Fate rarely calls upon us at a moment of our choosing.
This next emotion is surprise, and it's so much better nowadays if you can go into a film spoiler free. But one of my favourite comic book movies is X-Men First Class, and the scene when Professor Xavier is trying to get all the different X-Men together, and he walks into a bar, and sitting by the bar is Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and he tells him to go the cells. And I looked over to Tom, I was like, I was not expecting that. But if you want a good comic book film, go see X-Men First Class. It's first class, like Debbie Greenwood.
Well, we take Gary and Paul back to the arcade now to test their reflexes. This is the Hypersport game. Beaumont Lees, Gary, you're going first. And he's off. Up. Oh, and a good one, lots of tumbles there. And he lands on his feet. 9.00. Great stuff. It's a tough act to follow, Paul. A good run up there. Oh dear.
Foul.
Oh dear, a bit intimidating that first score, I think.
The next emotion I'm going to be talking about is trust. And one brand or company that I've always liked their films is New Line Cinema. From everything from Rush Hour, The Wedding Singer, In the Mouth of Madness, just quality films, and up till as recently as Shazam. Great company. When I see that logo, I always think, yeah, he's going to be in for a good time. And can you believe the company was started by Bob Shaye, and he doesn't do cameos in all the respectable films like Lord of the Rings. He does win things like Freddy vs. Jason, and two people really high up in the company, Rachel Talalay, directed Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare in 3D, and Michael DeLuca also wrote In the Mouth of Madness. This next emotion is anticipation, and it goes along with the film The Phantom Menace, and it's probably one of the few times that I've suffered really bad anxiety. The night before I couldn't go to sleep, I felt really sick, my stomach was in knots because it had been 16 years since the previous Star Wars movie. I went to queue up for it at 7 o'clock in the morning. I wasn't even the first person in the queue.
Fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering.
Thanks for watching. Have a good 7 days and keep it locked.
Thanks for watching The Legends of Cherry Hill. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing.